Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all present today. Thank you for joining us in our pre-webinar on latest updates on policies and labor law. Okay. Today, before everything, we're gonna start off with the briefings on MEF rules, function, and also membership. We have Puan Aisyah to highlight the MEF rules, function, and also the membership details of MEF. So without further ado, I invite Puan Aisyah of the membership and strategic communication manager to present the topics. Thank you very much. Silakan Puan Aisyah.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, everybody. Thank you, everyone who are joining us today for our free webinar. Before we begin the Dato' Haji Shamsuddin session, we would like to just share with you a little bit of what Malaysian Employees Federation MEF is about. So I'm sure majority of you are HR practitioners. Out of majority of you, some of you may aware what and who MEF is, and some may just curious who are we actually. And here, inside my presentation, I will share three main topics, which is what MEF is about, what our MEF members benefits, and what our membership offers, and how is the subscription fee structure is like. So without further ado, I'll start with about MEF. So MEF, our role is we lead and we represent the private sector employers in Malaysia. Through our vision, our company's vision is to be the premier employers representative at national, regional, and international levels, and to be the leader in the development of human resources and promoting good employment practices and harmonious industrial relations with an overall view to achieve the national objective. We carry this vision through three core missions that we do in our day-to-day basis. First is to promote the development of excellency in human resource management to enable employers to meet current and future business challenges. And then we promote productivity through inter alia harmonious employers and employee relations. To also promote and represent the business interests of employers at national, regional, and international fora. At a later stage in my presentation, I will explain more on this. We carry our roles through these four core values. We empower the excellence in industrial relations and human resource management. We champion and advocate for the private sector's interests and business needs. We promote harmony and foster positive employment practices. And we advance the private sector's industrial relations and human resource agendas in the global arena. So we have our presence at six states, and our headquarters is based here in Petaling Jaya. And we are excited to also share that this year we are looking forward to opening a branch in Malacca. So we have the northern region consisting of Penang, Kedah, and Perlis. We have our presence in East Coast as well, in Kuantan, Pahang, Kelantan, Terengganu. At the southern region, we have in Johor. Central region consists of these 5 states, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, Negeri Sembilan, and Malacca. And at the East Malaysia region, we have Sabah, Sarawak, and Labuan. So this is our milestone. We started and we were established in May 1959 as a Federation of Malaya Industrial and Commercial Employees Consultative Association. And we've grown now, as of 2023, we have over 6,500 ordinary members and 50 plus association members. And I'm excited to share our 2024 initiatives. One moment, sorry. Thank you. Our 2024 transformation, what we are looking forward to the changes in 2024 is we are actually in the midst of going through and planning MEF digitalization to aiming at improvising our members' experiences. So now a lot of our processes or even our members' experiences with us are very much manual in the sense that they need to email us and things like that. In the future, we are digitalizing our processes. And we are also having an election this year. We will explain further. I will explain further after this. And we are excited also to announce that this year we are celebrating MEF 65th anniversary, and we are going to have a dinner which will open tables to our members. I don't think so many is aware of how MEF structure is. We at MEF, we are top secretariats. MEF is governed by a council member, a council committee comprising of members who are our members. So we have a president and 4 vice presidents with appointed honorary treasurer and secretary. And under each, and then among our members who are appointed as council members, they will represent these 4 other committees who will view the different areas and authorities or departments within MEF. We have here constitutional committees, consists of the audit committee, establishment committee, finance, membership committee, selection and credential committee. Under the standing committee, we have the transformation committee, who is very active in overlooking our digitalization initiative, international relations committee, ESG and standards committee, public relations committee, brand and communication committee. And we have the ad hoc and other committees, which is law revision committee, president's committee, and under MEF, other MEF committees is MEF Health, Safety and Environment Advisory, MEF Industrial Role, MEF Committee and Technical TVET Training, Women's HR Leaders Committee, MEFA Board of Directors. Sorry, one moment. Okay. This is one of the ways how we represent the private employers in Malaysia, is that our president or our executive director are actively advocating and contribute to dialogues and forums, and we publish all these dialogues. We share in the news media, and we also regularly and actively publish our insights and views inside the media. And then we do this not only on print media, but also online media and digital media. So now that's a little bit of background about what MEF is about. Next, I will share with you what are benefits of becoming an MEF member. So here I will explain further on how we represent private employers in the national, regional, and international forum. Sorry, we have some technical error. I cannot. So our members get a plethora of benefits, including complimentary consultations on human resource related issues, legal representation in labor court, and preparation rates on events, trainings, publication, as well as numerous perks, other perks that I will be sharing in my presentation. So first of all, I've been explaining how I've been telling and sharing with all of you how we represent national, regional, as well as international organizations. This is how we represent. We have nationally, we have a seat inside the various, we represent because we have a seat in the various government bodies. So this is where we represent in terms of national. Our ED will sit in conversations or forums and discussions with the government bodies to advocate on private sector matters, business needs, and everything. In regional, through regional, we are part of the Asian Confederation of Employers and we are the secretary and also part of Confederation of Asia Pacific Employers (CAPE). At an international level, we partner and we are part of International Organization Employers IOE and International Labour Conferences. And because of our strategic partnership with and involvement in International Labour Organization, what our council members and our management have done recently in the previous year is that normally where ILO have international agenda or forum or discussion, we will appoint any one of our members to represent their particular industry. For example, last year, ILO opened an invitation for fishery industry. What our management had done was we approached Persatuan Nelayan Kebangsaan Malaysia, NIKMAT, invited them to become our member, and then they represented MEF, the Persatuan Nelayan Kebangsaan Malaysia in Geneva, and according to their feedback, we follow up with them once they've gotten back from Geneva, what would be the benefits that they gain when representing Malaysia in the international arena is that these are the three benefits they find very fruitful. It empowers them to serve as the industry's representative at international conferences. They like the idea to learn and collaborate and network with the peers in the industry, not only locally, but also other countries that will present in Geneva. Learn and apply best practices observed from other players. To them, it was very eye-opening because they see other international companies, how they actually implement fishery in their particular industry, what were the implementation, what are the regulations and things like that. So they find this exposure they get as MEF member beneficial for their industry. And on most of IO events are covered in terms of expenses, overseas expense. Most of the times, other expenses are covered and borne by IO because of the perks that they because of the partnership that we have with them. this is also our core services, which is the consulting services. These are the offers that we have, our consultants have, the various packages and offers. Under industrial labor court cases, we can represent our members, our consultants can represent our members in labor court. And our consultants are experienced, and among them are retired IR court chairman. We have 2 retired court chairmen as prosecuting officers. That is part of our experienced consultant teams. So these are the various offers that the consultant services has. And then maybe if some of you are going through some challenges in your HRIR related matters, you can screenshot this. And then if anything, you can come and call us and then see what we can do for you. And what our members find most beneficial is after their confirmation and approval as an MEF member, after the whole processes of payment and booking, they will be added into the regional WhatsApp group. So they have direct access to our consultants who are experts on human resource in industrial relation matters. How this benefit is sometimes it's just a simple question as simple as you would like to check. Is this particular date a public holiday? This government has just gone out, has just announced this ruling. How does it affect our companies? So you can access, use that. Sorry. You can use that channel and you can get quick consultation on human resource and industrial relation issues or any announcement you just want to check, you can go through that WhatsApp. And then our
tadi lah interview mati nak mati aduh ni
anyone who has their mic switch on. Tailored assistance provided by our consultants to address your requirement. Research, survey, and publications. My colleague will will talk more about this, but in a high level, our team of researchers has crafted insightful studies and surveys exclusively for our members at an affordable price. The team is ready to create custom tailored research to elevate your company's unique needs. So if you have certain studies that you need to do internally, we have a team of researchers who are able to do that. And we have affordable pricing, especially for our members. These services, even though we open to members and non-members, but members can enjoy preferential rates. MEF and MEFA trainings. This also open to members and non-members, but members can enjoy exclusive pricing. So you all can explore training opportunities with our dedicated trainers and consultants provided nationwide and readily available for you. So if you see inside this slide, the second from right, that is one of the chairman judge that I spoke earlier on, Datuk Jalal. And then a little bit about MEF Academy. MEF Academy is a wholly owned subsidiary of MEF, and it has been acknowledged as a leading training provider by the Human Resource Development Corporation and Podcast. We are a certified trainer provider for Train the Trainer program, and we are recognized for our expertise and knowledge, our team of qualified trainers, our customized training, and the relevancy of our training content because we update them from time to time. And as in terms of strategic partnership, we partner with these bodies to offer various courses and programs. We also do university collaborations with these universities, offering doctorate, master's, diploma in industrial relation or human resource management. We also we are also known to organize HR and IR related conferences. Recently, we had the Progressive Wage System conference on 6th February at One World Hotel. So our members can enjoy exclusive prices, preferential rates, and our conferences are also 𝐀𝐥𝐞𝐫 payable. This is exclusively an offer for those presented in this webinar. Tentatively, this is what we have planned for this year, the conferences we have for this year. And those who participate in this webinar today and right now, maybe you want to screenshot this as your bukti that you are joining here. You get one complimentary seat. Your company, whoever presented today, get one complimentary seat or any one of your preferred conference, which is listed here. The date is tentative, but we will also publish on our social media or email blast on the confirmed dates. We will actively update our members on this. So to recap some of the services that I've spoken in the earlier on, to differentiate which is free-based and which are we charge with a very minimum fee, let's go to the free-based first. So WhatsApp group is the WhatsApp group that I mentioned earlier. This is exclusive for members only. It's not open to non-members. So our members only can enjoy the WhatsApp group services. Advice and guidance as well, exclusively only for members. Our members also will receive regular email news status on latest HR and IR news. Any updates, announcement from the government, we will update you. Sometimes we will also share success stories or cases that our consultants have done, success stories, or even some cases they've known, or we have a pool of cases that our consultants can access to. Then we share some success stories for our members' knowledge. And then we've gotten feedback that these stories, these cases that they studied actually beneficial, help them to kind of map out their own regulations like HR regulations, onboarding, hiring, and methods like that. So simple writing, okay, these freebies have to stress, simple written opinion on HR and IR issues. Simple in the sense that if you've written down your issues or documents in simple manner, you just want us to review, depending on the complexity of your file. If it's too complex, then we have minimal fee charges. If it's simple, we are okay to review it for our members. And then we also organize monthly meetings, regional monthly meetings, or if sometimes it's Klang Valley, but you happen to be here, you want to join, you can also join, because we will blast out notifications informing our members on these meetings. And then as a member, you can also access to MEF members portals, because let's say, for example, you have certain queries inside your head, but it's okay for you to get the answers later. You can just answer your post your questions inside the portal. The minimal fee services, exclusively for our members only, we have court representation, and we are considered the cheapest compared to if you were to go to other law firms and everything like that. We are considered the cheapest, and consultancy packages that I've shared earlier. If services that open to members and non-members, we have the seminars, the webinars like this, conferences, trainings, and publications. This is another one of our known and very known tax seminar event. We partner with LHDN. We go nationwide to educate employers and share with employers the existing tax seminar related matters. So this year's theme is aligned with the theme of Budget 2024, which is strengthening national economy, accelerating business growth. Our first event will be in Kuala Lumpur. The venue will be confirmed soon. It's on the Tuesday, 23rd of April. Perhaps some of you who are interested in joining, You can screenshot this. I'll allow you someone to screenshot this. And then after this event, we'll share with you all these details so that you can plan your calendar accordingly and join us to this text event. And now I'll move on quickly for MEF membership because my colleague will be presenting the qualifications for short while. This individual two categories, ordinary member and association members. Under ordinary members, there are two types. One is individual employers, meaning the holding company. If you don't have subsidiaries, you are considered as individual employers. You are the sole proprietors, enterprises, and things like that. You fall under individual employers. Holding companies are one parent company together with other subsidiaries who share a centralized HR functions and eligible HR or IR functions. So meaning your HR and IR department is centralized at HQ. And then we have association members. This is our subscription fee for our ordinary members. We have a minimum of 500 ringgit for employees with 20 employees and less. We actually have just revised this to cater more of the small scales and to make it more affordable for our members. So any members who has less than 20 employees, they pay a minimum of 500 ringgit. 21 employees up to 100 employees, they pay a minimum of 1,000 ringgit. And if you have more than that, you go by the tier basis that's in the table. And then we have another type of members, that is association members. There are 6 types, FM2, AM2, FM1 and AM1, FM and AM3 and AM4. So in terms of subscription fee structure, FM1 and AM1, each, you will get 20% off from ordinary member punya pricing. Meaning your total later on, based on that pricing, you get 20% off. Then FM2, 3,000, FM2 and AM2, 3,000 ringgit, AM3, 1,000 ringgit, AM4, 3,000 ringgit. This is what I mentioned earlier. So out of this prescribed rate here, our FM1 and AM1 enjoy 20% off. This category is actually if you are an association members of our existing association. Sorry, if you fall under, for example, an association members who are already MEF members, you can join and you can join them under the association members. Sorry, find out example of one of, for example, if you are part of British Tobacco members, you can enjoy 20% off to join as MEF member. And that's the end of my presentation. These are my team, Silva Khalida, V, Akila, and Abang Zul. If anything, you can contact us at the number here. We'll share this, we share the details also after this event. Before we go to Dr. Khadijah today's session, my colleague will present a little bit more further about publication.
Thank you, Puan Aisha, for the elaboration on the membership, MEF function and membership structure of MEF. So, before we pass the floor to Dato' Adi Samsudin, our CFO of IR icon, I would say, I would like to invite Puan Maslifa. Sekejap Dato', kita nak invite Puan Maslifa untuk to highlight the publication of our new publication yang recently launched lah, being launched in last year. Dipersilakan Puan Maslifa sebentar. I'll share the slide for you. Sebentar
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. I'm Puan Maslifa from the Sale and Event Project Development. I'm Puan Maslifa from Senior Sales Executive from the Sales and Project Development. So it is my pleasure to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, our recent publication in 2023. The first publication is our series survey for non-executive, then our series survey for executives, the MEF Medical Benefits Survey, the MEF Collective Agreements and Awards on Terms and Conditions of Employment 2022, and Passes from the Ground. Let me brief you on our MEF series surveys. That is a very renowned publication. We had this publication annually on annual basis, and this publication are now in its 29th edition. The MEF service survey for executives and non-executives was participated by 262 companies from manufacturing and non-manufacturing sectors. The executives report covered 226 benchmark positions of 16,158 executives with 226 job positions. And the non-executives report covered 27,141 non-executives with 129 benchmark positions. Next, please. The MEF Service Surveys 2023 indicated that 80%, approximately 80% of the respondent companies granted salary increase to all or certain executive and non-executive employees in 2023. In 2023, the average salary increase for executives was 5.88% and the non-executive was 5.56%. So in 2023, the primary criterion for granting executive and non-executive salary increase in more than 90% of the surveyed companies. The next slide shows that in 2024, the surveys forecasted an average salary increase of 5.27% for executive and 5.28% for non-executive. For bonus, next slide, please. For bonus, 80% of the respondent companies indicated that they granted bonuses to the executive and non-executive. The executive was granted with for 2024, the executive will be granted at 2.13 months and the non-executive will be 2.0 months. Okay, the next slide, please. Proceed with the next publication, that is our MEF Medical Benefits Survey. As you all are aware that medical benefits form an important part of the compensation and benefits package offered by employers to attract, retain, and engage employees. The 2023 report presents a comprehensive view of current practices, provisions, and entitlements related to employees' medical benefits, which included the outpatient benefits, hospitalization benefits, dental and optical benefits, medical costs, mandates loss, or absenteeism and leaves related to medical. The survey, in the profile of the survey is that it was participated by 348 companies, of which 99.1% of the participating companies were MEF members. In terms of industry sector, 57.2% of the participating companies were from non-manufacturing sector. It is also noteworthy that 55.5% of the participating companies were owned by Malaysians. The next slide, please. The common types of medical benefits provided by the participating companies are the outpatient consultation and treatment, followed by hospitalization, surgical and treatment, specialist medical consultation, and dental benefits. The least common provided in 2023 were optical benefits and traditional medical treatment. Proceed. In terms of payment for the outpatient consultation treatment, 70.1% of the participating companies paid the outpatient with limit. 23.8% provided unlimited outpatient, while 33.3% of the participating companies paid via medical insurance, but limited at certain amount. I will share with you on the next slide the average outpatient medical treatment limit paid by the companies provided for the foreign employees. At top or senior management level, it is average of RM 3,916 per year, managers at RM 2,652 per year, the executives is at 2,212 per year, and the non-executives are at RM 1,762 per year. In terms of payment for the hospitalization and surgical and treatment, in the next slide, 3.6% of the participating companies provided unlimited hospitalization. 17.5% provided limited hospitalization, whereas 83.2% paid via hospitalization insurance, but limited at certain amounts. The next slide we share on the average hospitalization insurance coverage provided for the following employees. For the top or senior managers, the average hospitalization insurance coverage was at RM 90,418 per year. Managers at RM 69,458 per year. The executives were at RM 51,232 per year, and the non-executives at RM 40,481 per year. The next slide shows that when it comes to planning and selecting the medical benefits package offered to the employees, employers were very concerned on the increasing cost of healthcare plans provided for the employees and the premium paid for the healthcare insurance, as mentioned, indicated by 81.3% of the respondent companies, followed by issues on companies' long-term sustainability by 60.2% of the respondent companies, retention of valuable employees, 49.6%, choosing the right medical benefits plan based on budget and affordability, 49.2%, and administrative burden in managing the benefits and claims at 45.1%, as indicated by the respondent companies. The next slide shows that, sorry, we can just go to the same slide. Okay, the slide also shows that 72.5% of the respondent companies projected that medical costs or expenses will increase for the upcoming year. The estimated average increase in medical costs for year 2024 would be at 20.4%. The next slide brief shows that is for the MEF collective agreements and awards on terms and conditions of employment 2022. This is also another publication of ours. The slides brief that the 18th edition of MEF collective agreements contains data analysis from 317 collective agreements taken cognizance by the Industrial Court on terms and conditions of employment in 2022. In 2022, the next slide please. 150 collective agreements provided across the board adjustment based on percentage increase at an average of 5.5%. There was an increase of slightly of 0.2% of the across the board adjustment granted in 2022 compared to 2021. Next slide. This is a new publication, Pulses from the Ground, that has been added to the 4 flagship surveys we regularly publish. In 2023, we published a compilation of results of polls and surveys that MEF has conducted in the last few years. This infographic presentation of compelling issues affecting the private sector employees in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Based on 31 polls and 60 surveys from 2018 through 2023, a total of about 7,214 participants were involved in these polls and surveys. The publication covers findings on COVID-19 sexual harassment at the workplace, wages and subsidies and taxes, policy compliance and social protection and employees' welfare, skills, internship and budget, and aging, disaster and ESG. Next slide. A few polls and surveys were conducted, especially during the Movement Control Order, MCO, when COVID-19 struck our country. For example, we looked at the employees' reception on the work from home mode of arrangement across the different phases of the MCO. It is quite clear that during the time, in the absence of a clear understanding of the nature of coronavirus, employees prefer to shield employees from potential exposure. Hence, more than 60% of the respondent companies agreed to the work from home arrangement. Next slide. As COVID-19 wears on and certain provisions of the Employment Act amended, employers tend to maintain the 5-day work week in both shift and non-shift working environments. Next slide. Let me share with you on our publications price. Okay. For the MEF service survey executives, MEF service survey for non-executives, and MEF medical benefits survey 2023. For those participating companies, our member companies, they are entitled to RF 500 compared to our member companies who did not participate in our surveys. So they will purchase the report at the price of RM 1,000. But if you are not a non-member MEF, the price will be double at RM 2,000 per copy. So it is advisable that to purchase to become our member. If you are interested in the publication, besides that, just before I end my presentation, besides that, we also have our other books, that is the law books, the MEF law books. We also have our MEF industrial relations series. Here, this is the Employment Act, the Act book, or the law books. This is the industrial relations book, beside the survey series. So if you are interested, right, you can just kindly contact MEF Sales and Project Development Unit or Department. That is me and my colleague, Ms. Muspira Liana, at the number mentioned in the screen there, or you can just kindly scan the QR code in the presentation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Puan Baslifa, for the highlights of the MEF publications that we recently launched last year. It is good for our participants need to know because our findings from these surveys, right? Findings of this survey is being quoted in the MOF and also Bank Negara Malaysia. So kita tak nak tangguhkan, tak nak delay lagi. This really highlighted actually is the talk by kita punya ED, Datuk Haji Samsudin Bardan, as I say, the icon of IR in Malaysia. I dare say that because he's been featured in newspapers and also TV stations. Selalu dipanggil untuk interview. So without further ado, I invite Datuk Haji Samsudin to present his topic on the latest updates on policies and labour law. Silakan Datuk, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Terima kasih Nur Khalidah, and also terima kasih to Aisha and Aslifa for giving a brief on the background of MEF and also the kind of products that we have within MEF for the members and also for the members, for the employers community. Yeah. And of course, you know that MEF is very much an organization that protect and promote the interests of employers, basically. Yeah. And of course, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to all. And thank you very much for participating in this particular event. And before I go on a fixed term contract, just a bit on some of the new policies, some of the new things that the government is embarking this year. Of course, you know very well that the government had introduced what they call it as progressive wage policy. This is very much a voluntary program, and they possibly want to roll out this program by June or July this year for 3 months pilot project. And they are going to announce the industries that are going to be involved in the program. And tentatively, they say that it is people in the manufacturing sector, people in the construction, and also people in the services. But of course, services is very wide. They had not really say which particular part of the services is going to be involved in the progressive wages model pilot project. Yeah? And of course, under pilot project, 1,000 employers will be, of course, selected in the event they actually apply to participate. And of course, the allowance or the subsidy given to them will be depending on whether the employee concerned are from the entry level or from the non-entry level. You're talking about 200 ringgit and 300 ringgit kind of subsistence allowance to be given by the government for the pilot project. And of course, after that, they are going to roll out the program for the whole, I would say, economy, and that will be for 1 year. Yeah, and also they will announce the amount of subsidy to be given. Currently, they allotted something like 2 billion ringgit. Yeah, that is quickly on the progressive wage model. And also the government intended to implement what they call it as multi-tier levy system. Of course, this means that this is something going to be higher levy for those people that employ more foreign workers. Yeah, and of course, they will roll out this possibly by second half of this year or third quarter of this year, depending on, of course, the situation at the material time. And the other part is basically, you know very well that for the people that have foreign workers, Mama had announced the yearly medical examination requirement instead of previously once for you had done 3 years, then you don't have to do it. Only you will do it only after the 7th year, but now they say it's yearly. And also the fees also they had increased by about 15% kind of fees, yeah, from 190 to slightly more than 200 ringgit, yeah. And also you know that the Trade Union Act actually had been passed by Parliament and also had been gazetted. The only thing is that the government had not decided on which particular date the law is going to be implemented. And the other part is that, you know, this year, possibly a new minimum wages order is going to be issued. Yeah? And this new minimum wages order, of course, is expected to be effective from May 2024. Yeah, and of course the rate is of course a concern, and of course MEF will try to actually persuade the government not to actually increase like what they had increased in 2022 by 25% to 36%. That is, I would say, overly too high as far as minimum wages is concerned. But we need to understand why the government also wanted to pursue that kind of increases, because the government wanted to make sure that the share of wages to the GDP currently at about 32%, 33% to increase to 40% and beyond. And of course, we are trying to achieve what we call it as high income developed status country rather than being trapped in the middle income. Yeah. So those are some of the policies that inevitably is going to be implemented this year. And of course, that may have bearing in our cost of operations, things like that as employers. And also the HRDC, I believe most of you are contributing to HRDC, is going to implement the Malaysia Madani training, where 15% of your levy you contributed to HRDF will be, of course, forfeited and being put to the pool money in the event in your account you have more than 50,000, but you had not done any training in 2023. Yeah, but of course the government is quite lenient in the sense that even if you actually now carry out a program and use your levy contribution for the period of January to June, end of June this year, then possibly they will consider not to forfeit the 15%. Yeah, so the 15% will only apply if you have more than 50% balance. More than 50,000 balance in your account, but you had not done any training in 2023 or part of 2024 up to June. Yeah, so again, I would say that you need to check your account and discuss with HRDC whether you are going to be involved in the forfeiture 15%. HRDC said that there will be about 10,000 companies being earmarked for this particular forfeiture, but they will alert the companies before they make the necessary deduction. Yeah. Okay, those were some of the brief that I would like to share with the participants here. And of course, we try to go and discuss a bit on fixed term employment. Yeah. And of course, what is important is that what are the kind of things that you must know in the event you have fixed term employment. Yeah. So among the members, among the participants here, how many of you actually had employed staff on fixed term contract? Now, if you can just show by the show of hands in your icon there. Is it possible? No? Yeah, you do. Yeah, I saw one. Only one of the participants have fixed term contract. Yeah. Two. Yeah. I believe there will be more of the people that do fixed term contract. And of course, you need to actually understand the implication if you have a fixed term contract. Yeah. And I just would like to share with you this particular case. This is a pretty new case, Said Hizam versus Cahaya Mata Sarawak. Yeah. And this particular employee was actually initially employed as a fixed term contract employee, finance manager, and he was promoted to various positions. And eventually he was promoted in 2009 as what they call it as chief financial officer of the group. Yeah. And of course, at the end of the day, he was actually his contract was renewed 3 times until the contract was not renewed on 2021. Yeah. And the companies say that there were some issues with employee concern, he was actually investigated for mismanagement of hedging funds, and also he also had made personal investment into the company's project. Yeah? And of course, this suspension from mid 2021 was extended up to the end of August 2021, and eventually the company say, sorry, we are not going to renew your contract when it expires on 31st August 2021, and his last drawn salary is not low, is 81,000 plus. Yeah, and of course, when his contract was not renewed, he went to court and say that that amounts to wrongful dismissal. And the court, when looking at the case, talk about three important factors when you look at fixed term contract. First, of course, is the intention of both parties. What is really the intention of the parties? Are they really going on what they call it as genuine fixed term contract? Or this is just to dress up a permanent job into what they call it as fixed term contract? Yeah? And of course, important is basically, how do you as an employer treat your employee during the course of the employment? And also looking at the nature of the company's business, whether it is actually aligned to the conduct of the company in calling this contract as fixed term contract. And eventually, of course, the court decided that what the company had done in not renewing the contract amounted to what they call it as wrongful dismissal. Mind you, for every case that goes to Section 20 of the Industrial Relations Act, we are considered as dismissal. And of course, in this particular case, the court ordered compensation in lieu of reinstatement. It is always 1 month for every year of service. So we're talking about 1.3 million ringgit here. And the work wages is from the date of dismissal to the date of hearing, 24 months. You're talking about 1.9 million, close to 2 million here. And also the court talked about payment of unconsumed annual leave, about close to 280,000. So all in all, the court ordered 3.5 million payment to be made to the employee concerned. And of course, this is not yet taking into account the cost of EPF, the cost of UXO, thing like that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically a reality. Yeah. In the event you have someone on fixed term contract, and you actually, the nature of your business is actually not seasonal, or this is something that the job is there permanently, but you want the person concerned to be on a fixed term contract. Of course, this kind of situation, like in the 𝐖𝐞𝐛𝐢𝐧𝐚 case, may apply to you. I'm not saying that it will apply to you. It may apply to you. And of course, as companies, then we got to see how do we address this kind of situation, so that if you need to employ people on fixed term contract, then you would not fall into the same shoes like Cahaya Mata Sarawak. I just would like to pause a bit here. If participants have any concern and we need to address it quickly here, please just turn on your mic and you can just say your concerns. Yeah? Anyone?
Dato', actually we have shared the pigeonhole link to the participant through through the chat box. Diorang boleh submit the question through pigeonhole lah. Kita akan go through.
That is, the pigeonhole is still empty, is it?
Yep.
But okay, if any of the participant is keen to actually just raise your concern, you can do so now, yeah, while we are at early stage and looking after the case of Syed Hizam, which I believe is something that is really a high exposure and a high liability on the part of the company. Yeah. While you're actually thinking about issues that you may have in your company, just go on, but don't worry. If you have any concerns at all, just raise your hand, and I'm going to call after on you to actually say your issue. Yeah, and of course, you know, when we talk about fixed term contract, yeah, this is where, you know, we are talking about the contract of employment is not permanent. It is meant for specified period. And of course, if you look at our industry, yeah, you know that the construction industry, they are very, I would say, much on fixed term contract because they always go on project base. Yeah. Say, for example, they are building a new highway. Then for that highway, they have a company being formed. And when the company engage the employees, they say that all of you are engaged either for 1 year or whatever duration, or they say that you're engaged for this particular project. So the consequence is basically at the end of the fixed term contract or at the end of the completion of the project, then the employment will end. Yeah. And of course, you know, what we say here is that the contract at the end of employment automatically expires. Yeah. And of course, in this situation, question is whether you as an employer actually is obliged to issue a letter of termination. Yeah. Or telling the employee that the contract actually you know, is no longer required. So how many employers here, any of you here had actually issued letter of termination when the contract come to an end? Or you issue a letter at all to the employee concerned to talk about the status of the contract itself at the end of the period? Any of you for termination benefits under the Termination and Layoff Benefit Regulation, the Employment Act, or if you're not lucky, then the employee say, okay, look, I want to claim for wrongful dismissal. I want to claim for my job back under Section 20 of the IR Act. So if your employee chooses to actually file a claim for termination benefit, that can still be manageable, yeah, depending on how you handle the contract. But if you actually, the employee concerned, decide to go for wrongful dismissal, then I would say that it is harder in that manner. Yeah, and of course, basically, in this kind of situation where the contract is not renewed, even if it is a fixed term contract, the federal court in the 𝐀𝐥𝐞𝐫 case stated that the employee can still use the provision of Section 20 IR Act to claim for reinstatement. Yeah, so that's why I would say that Section 20 is very much being utilized by employee that want to get the job back, reinstatement, in the event there is an event that had been done by the company to end the contract. Yeah? And let's just look at the Hanchang High School case, which is very critical because this is one of the, I would say, precedent cases where the practitioners need to understand, need to know, to say that what can actually be considered as you know, a good cause for a wrongful dismissal claim in the event there was a non-renewal of the contract for that matter. So in this particular case, of course, this involved a private high school in Penang, and the teachers were actually employed on fixed term contract for 2 years. So what happened was that the teachers decided to join the Union of Teachers in the independent school, and of course the union actually claimed recognition on the company, and the government actually ordered the company to recognize the union. Yeah, and eventually what happened was that the school informed the teachers that their services are no longer required and would not be renewed upon the expiry in 31st December 2086. Yeah? And of course, this was actually, conveyed to all the teachers to say that their services will not be renewed upon expiry of the fixed term contract. Yeah? And what the union had done was, at that time, the law allows the union to actually represent the employees concerned and file a claim for wrongful dismissal for their members. Yeah? Of course, now the law is changed to say that whether you are a union or non-union member, you need to file the case individually. But at that time, it's more like a class action together, all of them together. And of course, the issue that the court need to address is whether, this contract of employment on fixed term for teachers, whether it is something that is genuine, and of course this to be something that the company or the school need to be protected when they engage the staff based on fixed term contract, or on the other hand, yeah, whether the court would say that no, the employees need to be protected from being deprived of their rights through ordinary employment, meaning that it is a permanent employment when the employment actually is being dressed up in a form of temporary fixed term contract. So the question is that teachers, is it something that it is a temporary fixed term contract? Because the court eventually gave the opinion to say that so long as there are students, then of course the school will still require teachers. So there is no point for you to really say that these people are engaged on fixed term contract. And eventually what the court had decided was to say that, the employees or the teachers of course, are not genuinely employed under fixed term contract, and the court actually had reinstated the teachers' concern. And of course, the company was really upset with the industrial court decision. They went to the High Court. They lost the case. They went to the Supreme Court. Again, they lost the case. Yeah. So we can see that, what is critical is the nature of the job itself. If the job really actually is permanent job, but you dress it up to look like it is a temporary job, then the court will likely actually say that your action is not right. And of course, the employee concerned that even if you call it as a non-renewal thing like that, the employee may be even reinstated by the company. Yeah, and of course, again, this is another example where the company actually engaged staff on fixed term contract. Yeah, and eventually this staff were actually ordered to be transferred to Malacca and also to Kuantan branch, and the sales commission were reduced from 3.5% to 1.5%. And of course, both of them appealed for the transfer to be reconsidered, but the company did not hear their appeal. And of course, later on, their fixed term contract were not renewed. Yeah? And of course, remember that this non-renewal actually is at the end of the contract period, 31st December 2027, and because they actually didn't want to accept the transfer and also the final contract. So in this kind of situation, the court actually say that it is not something which is genuine, yeah, and of course the court say that looking at the facts of the case, the contract of employment were in fact permanent employment, and the court also commented that a genuine fixed term contract should be for a short period, one-off or seasonal, yeah? And of course, in this particular case, the employment of both the claimant 15 years and 9 years. And in this case, of course, the court actually say that the action of the company amounted to wrongful dismissal and ordered back wages to be paid, things like that. Yeah? And of course, in the event, yeah, it is a genuine fixed term contract. And the companies say that, sorry, we are not going to renew your contract. Yeah? We are not actually extending your contract, for example. Then, of course, in some cases, depending on, of course, the facts of the case, the court can say that no, there is no termination, there is no dismissal. Yeah? And of course, as per Section 11 of the Employment Act, if the contract is a fixed term contract, come to the end of the duration of the contract, it just, come to an end, what we call it normally in our IR term, it comes to what they call it as come to an end due to the fluctuation of time. Yeah, so again, whether we are able to do that or not, depends a particular situation that we have. Yeah. So let us look at this particular case. Yeah? The case, of course, involving union as an employer. Yeah. And of course, in this case, we are dealing with a very experienced 𝐷 Sagam. So
I think Datuk Samsudin's line was cut off. Kita try tunggu dia to log in again to continue the sessions.
In the meantime, if you have questions, just
in the meantime,
if you have questions, can just keep.
If you have any question, you can keep posting it in the pigeonhole. Kita tunggu Datuk Samsudin to come back live sebentar ya.
Hi everyone, thank you for your patience. Sorry, Datuk is now back online. Hi Datuk, Assalamualaikum. Datuk, sorry, you're mute, Datuk.
My apologies, participants. I think there is some technical issue at my end here. But anyway, now you heard a bit of the discussion on fixed term contract. And perhaps if you have any concern, if you have any issues, please raise your issues and we can discuss the matter further. Yeah. Any issue? I saw a hand being raised there. You just state your name and we can just say your issue. Yeah.
So let me share the question posted in the pigeonhole sebentar untuk sementara participant nak I don't know can say themselves any. Let me share the one posted in the pigeonhole.
We have 3 votes for retire on 60 age. Is there a cooling period required before offer the employee a fixed term contract?
Yeah, my take is basically for us as practitioners to be extra careful. Yeah, assuming that you decide not to have any cooling off period, and of course, or you have a cooling off period, but this is for someone who is covered by the termination and the off benefit regulation, the cooling off period is not more than 30 days, yeah, or at least 31 days. And eventually, when the employee concerned, the contract is not renewed, yeah, somehow he will go to the Labour Department and claim for termination benefit, rightfully or wrongfully. So when he claimed for termination benefit, he's not claiming just for the contractual term period, but he will say that, yes, I want to claim for the whole of my service period, which is, inclusive of the service prior to retirement. Yeah, so that, I think in order for us to avoid that kind of predict, then it is advisable for us to really, say that the period after retirement should only be established after a cooling off period of at least 31 days. Yeah? Or for someone who is outside the Scope of Employment Act, then you can decide whether it is 1 week or 2 days or 3 days kind of thing. Yeah.
So,
The next question, we move on, yeah?
My one question is on my query on medical. As after audit by JTK, we were told we have violated Section 60F on medical expenses.
Because we have capped the benefit. We were told not to change by your consultant. Please advise.
Okay, my query is on medical. As after audit by JTK, we were told we have violated Section 60F on medical. Is there any other statement there? We were told not to change. Let me see. We were told we have violated on medical expenses because
This is the only question statement being posted. Atau anyone posted this question, boleh unmute yourself to explain more so that Datuk can have the bigger picture to answer your query.
Yeah. Basically, of course, yes, I understand the issue here. Yeah, to say that you put a capping on your medical expenditure. Now, if you look at Section 60F, ladies and gentlemen, the law says that the employee concerned is entitled to actually be given consultation at the expense of the employer. So when the Labour Department, when the GTK say that you cannot put really referring at sections that you cannot legally put a capping on the consultation fee, yeah. But here the problem arises because when company give a capping, it is capping on the medical expenditure based on what we call it as a consultation fee, and also the medicine, the cost of medicine. So this is where it complicates the matter. But if you say that no, you are putting a capping on the supply of medicine, for example, to 3,000, 4,000 per year, it is not legally wrong. But if you say that your capping is, say, a general capping of, say, 3,000, 4,000 per year, without actually saying that it is meant for the medicine, then you are also actually capping the consultation, where actually if you do that, then you are actually breaching the Section 60F, because Section 60F does not provide for any capping as far as consultation is concerned. So here the issue is you are capping also the consultation if you put a general capping like that. So I think we need to be very careful because if we insist that the capping apply, then of course the Labour Department is right in saying that you are breaching the provision of Section 60F, yeah? Because the consultation part cannot be kept. And of course, you may be wondering why there is a difference between consultation fee and medicine supplied. Remember, we are following the old British period last time. So under the British system, you're talking about consultation fee and the supply of medicine. The doctor just, provide for consultation, and the supply of medicine is basically given by the pharmacy. So the doctor just prescribe and don't supply the medicine. But in the Malaysian context now is the doctor also supply the medicine, yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. The next question is on how HRDC.
Sorry, there is a disturbance. Okay, Khalida, go ahead.
Okay. How HRDC define which company shall be forfeited 15% of the HRDF for Madani training, and what is the Madani training, who will benefit it? That was the question.
Of course, in the event the company had not utilized the contribution for 2023, yeah, no utilization at all, and of course the sum is more than 50,000, yeah, then the HRDF will say that 15% of the sum balance will be forfeited. But like I said earlier, this usage of the fund, which was supposed to be for 2023, now they still give a grace period of up to end of June this year. So if you are able to use your contribution for training up to June this year, even if let's say that you only used 200 ringgit or 2,000 ringgit, then, even if your sum is more than 50,000 ringgit balance, the HRDF will not forfeit the 15% of your sum. And this particular training basically is, as announced by the Budget 2024, it is the Malaysia Madani training. It is meant to actually assist underprivileged people who are considered as ex-convict, people who are of old age, people with disability, yeah, and of course special need people. So this training will be done mostly to assist the micro and small medium industries. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next, Halida.
Okay, the next one is to offer retired employee for fixed term contract. We back to your topic on fixed term contract. To offer retired employees for fixed term contract, is it best practice to give a grace period before entering the contract? If it best to give a grace period, how long the period is?
Because I had mentioned, I mean, for someone who is under the purview of termination and health benefit regulation, the contract gap must be at least 31 days. Otherwise, the contract is deemed to be continuous. Or for someone who is outside the scope of the termination and health benefit regulation, the gap can be even less than 30 days, can be 1 week, 2 weeks, or can be less than 1 week kind of thing, so long as there is a gap. But what is more important is that when you retire your employee, the exemption to pay termination benefit is basically only in cases where you retire your employee based on the contractual retirement age. Because I would say that most companies now have their contractual retirement age, but the issue of when you retire the employee is very, very critical. And because the law say that you are exempted if you retire your employee based on the contractual retirement age. So then you have to say, if you say that you retire an employee based on attaining the age of retirement of 60, then you will exactly retire the person concerned when the employee concerned reaches 60. So the question is that when the employee actually reaches 60, assuming that the employee concerned, the birth date is 31st December, yeah, and he's reaching 60 on 31st December 2024. So when is his retirement date? Is it when the date of 31st December 2024, or is it 30th December 2024, or is it 1st January 2025? Yeah. Of course, there are many school of thought here, but to me, my understanding is basically when you retire the employee concerned on hitting the age of 60, it must be the date that the employee celebrated his 60th birthday. That is 31st December 2024. If you retire him one day earlier or retire him one day later, then retirement cannot be said to be in accordance with the contractual retirement age. Yes, next, Karida.
One last question, because the rest of the question is about the same on the gap ni lah contract fixed term contract tadi. Ada one question, this one minta Datuk highlight lah, because you highlighted the Cahaya Mata cases just now. Dia kata, can you please highlight what Cahaya Mata need to do to avoid the situation yang you want to share with us just now?
Okay, first thing, of course, we need to decide that the contract, the job actually is not permanent job. Yeah, so the problem arises because many companies actually camouflage permanent job to be like short-term job, which is not right. Yeah, so of course you see that many of the big companies, even like Cahaya Mata or even many of the GLC companies, actually say that all their executive are put on fixed-term contract. To me, that is inviting problem, because you are then camouflaging the permanent job to become fixed-term contract. Then you have to be really, putting a good policy on this, or even if it is necessary for you to say that certain position in the company has to be on fixed-term contract. Say, for example, like the CEO, the CFO, and also possibly the operations manager, the top three of the company are considered as on fixed-term contract, then of course it can be explained. But if you started to say that every executive in the company is on fixed-term contract, that is something that I would say should be avoided. That is the first thing. Secondly is basically when the contract expires, you always make sure that the employee concerned write in to apply for another term contract. Yeah, so it is employees' initiative to actually apply for that particular new contract. And of course, really it's up to the company to decide whether the application is approved or not. And if it is approved, then possibly you need to have a gap between the two contracts. Like I say, of course, can be depending on the situation, whether you are an employee in the scope of Employment Act, the scope of the termination of benefit regulation or not. If you are outside, then possibly 1 week gap can be good enough. But if you are within the scope, then of course you're talking about at least 31 days, break. And of course, the other part is that always specify the terms of the contract for each contract. And you cannot just say that your terms and conditions are as per the previous contract. Yeah, you cannot do that. And of course, make sure that the terms actually differ from one contract to another, thing like that. And of course, you cannot be really, putting people and say that you are promoted, you are given annual increment, you are given that, you are given this. So in those kind of situation, if someone is on fixed term contract, you don't have to say that you are being paid bonus like any other employee. Come December, you pay bonus, thing like that. So why should you treat these people like any other permanent people in your company? So their terms need to be different. So if at all you want to pay extra payment to the employee concerned because of the good performance, then do it at the end of the contractual period rather than in December or fixed term or in at the end of your financial year period, thing like that. So make sure that the way you treat these people on fixed term contract is quite different from the way you treat your permanent employees. So there is some kind of differentiation. Yeah. So possibly, you need to actually, take that and implement it in the management of your fixed term contract. Then possibly the authorities looking at your practice would not say that you are actually camouflaging permanent contract into fixed term contract.
Okay, one last question from the chat box we received, Dato'. Do we need to issue a letter to inform the employee the end of their contract?
Yes, that is, I would say, a good practice, but don't call it as termination. Just give a note to the employee concerned to remind the employee concerned that his current contract, fixed term contract, will actually come to an end on this particular date. It is not a notice of termination, just a note to say that when the contract actually come to an end.
I believe that's all for today's session, to conclude today's session. Kalau Dato' ada nak tambah lagi before we end the session, anything to update, to highlight before we end the session, Dato', silakan.
Yeah, basically, of course, as MEF, we run and conduct so many programs, also under MEFA, in trying to make sure that employers understand the nitty-gritty of employment matters. And I would urge you basically to enroll into our program so that, you can get a better insight into the ways to manage your employees in better term, because sometimes if you made a mistake, just like in the case of Cahaya Mata Sarawak case, then the cost can be very, very high. Yeah, in fact, it's a good investment for you to actually learn all these things that are happening in the market, so that you can be better prepared on the matter. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato'. Thank you so much for the information sharing. The ilmu yang you give us today, despite the glitches that we have just now. Saya harap all the participants can get the information that being shared by Dato' just now, and do follow our social media for updates. Macam Dato' kata tadi, kita ada more trainings on the related topics yang kita akan share. Updates on the HR punya matters, on the IR punya matters. Do take advantage of that. Okay, and we are a registered training provider for HRDF. So this you can join and claim it back from the levy that you pay from HRDF lah, our trainings of that. Okay, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. Session ni kita akan share in our YouTube. So do watch out also our YouTube channel, Malaysian Employers Federation. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day and have a good weekend for tomorrow lah. Looking for Fridays, right? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.